tonight.
Her actions corrupted and disgraced one of the most important departments of government.
The Trump campaign changing strategy, now emphasizing the two major controversies surrounding Hillary Clinton, emails and the foundation. Will that work? We'll have a special report.
Jimmy, my emails are so boring. I'm embarrassed about that.
Hillary Clinton continuing to shrug off the email situation, which is probably a smart thing to do. We'll take a look at the Democratic strategy. Also ahead, some celebrities getting involved in the presidential race using social media. We'll tell you who's saying what. Caution. You are about to enter the no-spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. New strategy from the Trump campaign, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. To take the heat off their candidate, the Trump campaign is now focusing on Hillary Clinton's continuing email and foundation controversies. The plan is this: to demonize Mrs. Clinton with the corruption label, to demand an independent prosecutor be assigned to look at her behavior, and to tell voters that ongoing scandal will not benefit the country. Yesterday, Mr. Trump made things clear.
The Clintons made the State Department into the same kind of pay-for-play operation as the Arkansas government was. Now, the amounts involved, the favors done, and the significant number of times it was done require an expedited investigation by a special prosecutor immediately.
So, for the next few weeks, we'll be hearing that Attorney General Loretta Lynch should appoint a prosecutor to investigate the Clinton Foundation and perhaps the new email dump, which we will tell you about in a few moments. For her part, Secretary Clinton is cool. She appeared with Jimmy Kimmel last night. Now, that's a smart strategy by Secretary Clinton, not to run from the controversies, but to underplay them. Mrs. Clinton well understands that her base doesn't care very much about the email or foundation situations. Her campaign is hoping that independent voters are tired of it. All in all, this presidential campaign is nasty already, and it will get worse. Talking Points predicted that because there's so much at stake. The difference between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is enormous, and partisans on both sides are mobilized to the highest degree. Obviously, we're all living in a time where America is a very divided country. Republicans have nominated a populist, a magnet for controversy, who promises great change. Democrats have nominated a traditional politician, also a controversy magnet, whose policies are not much different than those of President Obama. For me as a voter, I don't like all the strife. I don't like the polarization, but it's a reality, and we all have to deal with it. And that's a memo. Now for the top story: more trouble today for Hillary Clinton. Just what the Trump campaign wants. Just a few hours ago, the Associated Press headlined, "Many donors to Clinton Foundation met with her at State." Joining us now from D.C., Fox News Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen. So this is original reporting from the AP. What should the folks know about it, Rosen?
Well, first of all, primarily that it's not good news for Hillary Clinton. The Associated Press, which is widely respected, it's not anybody's idea of a right-wing attack machine, has been using the Freedom of Information Act, and they've gotten a hold of a number of Secretary Clinton's schedules, her calendars from when she was America's top diplomat. And the AP analysis of these schedules finds that more than half of the people who got a meeting with Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State, or a phone call with her when she was Secretary of State, who were themselves outside the government, more than half of them either gave directly to the Clinton Foundation or did so through groups and companies.
Is there any perspective on this? I mean, the other secretaries of state really didn't have charitable foundations to that extent. But how hard is it to get an interview with a Secretary of State? I mean, it's hard for you, and you covered state for a while. But how hard is it for a civilian to walk in and get to talk to John Kerry or Hillary Clinton?
Sure. Well, it's much easier if you've given $5 to $10 million to the Clinton Foundation, and you asked about what is the context. The context here is that the Associated Press report comes at a time of mounting questions about whether the Clinton State Department maintained an appropriate distance from the Clinton Foundation. When she became Secretary of State, when Barack Obama asked Hillary Clinton to serve as in his administration, the Obama White House made Hillary Clinton sign an ethics agreement that stipulated that she would maintain a healthy distance from the Clinton Foundation.
Was that the same paper that said she wouldn't use her private emails for government business? Was that the same day? Did she sign them both at the same time?
We're checking. So
the appearance here is of play for pay, as Donald Trump would put it. Now let's turn to the foundation, which you know a lot about. They spent, the Clinton Foundation, $21 million just in 2014 alone on travel. That's 8% of the total receipts. That was mostly private jets where Bill and Hillary Clinton were whipping around all over the place, correct?
My understanding is, having looked at this, the Clinton Foundation doesn't have its own airplane, its own jet plane. They are largely dependent on donors and others who are friends of the Clintons. And there's evidence that Bill Clinton, as former president, used the same one rich guy's airplane something like 15 times in a 10-year period, or 25 times in a 10-year period. We can safely assume that no former president of the United States and no former First Lady of the United States has ever really lacked for transportation.
Well, they rented their planes. And, you know, for security reasons also. He is a former president and she is a Secretary of State, but that's a lot of money. And overall, Charity Navigator, by the way, which is the watchdog of all the American charities, they don't process the Clinton Foundation anymore because they say it's not in the model of a regular charity. But we do know that in 2014 from the IRS that 79% of the donations were used on charitable purposes. That's low.
There's another estimate that puts it closer to 88%. But there's no question that the Clinton Foundation was able to operate for a long time without really close scrutiny of what it was up to. And now that scrutiny has come. And now we see former President Clinton himself saying that if his wife is elected president, he'll step down from the Clinton Foundation. A lot of things will change. They won't accept corporate and foreign money and so on and so forth. The Boston Globe has already called in an editorial last week for the Clinton Foundation to cease accepting funds immediately, and if Hillary Clinton wins the White House, to shut down altogether because, as the newspaper put it in its editorial, the foundation is just too much of a conflict of interest for comfort.
Okay. But they're not going to appoint a special prosecutor. Loretta Lynch won't do that.
Doubtful.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's not going to happen. President Obama didn't want that. He doesn't want to go against his own party. Now, on the email front, we have his legal analyzing what this Judicial Watch thing is. But is there anything new on that? Because, you know, the voters have got a headache on all this foundation email, and, you know, every day there's something else. And then, you know, Hillary doesn't seem to be that concerned about it. Anything new on the email front?
There is lots that's new on the email front. The FBI in this country with the voters, whereby 3/4 regard her as dishonest and untrustworthy. I'm not sure that translates to regarding her as corrupt. That might be the avenue that Donald Trump can play successfully, but we also have to ask the question. You mentioned this word, one word in your talking points memo, independence. How many people in America, how many people likely to vote in America remain persuadable on these two individuals?
About 8%, the polls say. But again, there's so much fog surrounding all of this. But look, voters, I think, know generally what both candidate stands for. James Rosen, everyone, thank you. Next on the rundown, will the latest information about Secretary Clinton help Donald Trump? Then later, Time magazine says social media is creating a culture of hatred in the USA. Is that true? Take a hard look at it. Upcoming. The active follow-up segment tonight, as we just told you, anti-Hillary Clinton forces are demanding investigations into the Clinton Foundation and newly released emails. So how much will all this help Donald Trump? Joining us now from Charlottesville, the director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics, Dr. Larry Sabato. And from Washington, Rick Klein, political editor for ABC News. So your assessment of the foundation story tonight, Mr. Klein, does it help Trump?
If this campaign is about Donald Trump's on a path to losing. If the campaign is about Hillary Clinton, he has a potential path to winning and getting back in the conversation. So this story touches on so many elements of Clinton's vulnerabilities: transparency, conflicts of interest, questions of honesty and trustworthiness. All of those have tentacles that reach from this story, and it's a story that's going to develop over the next couple of months before the election. So I think Trump is smart to focus on it and to pound it through as many different avenues as he can in as many different ways as he can before November 8th.
All right, just to reiterate, Doctor, the headline in the Associated Press is about half the people who were granted interviews with Hillary Clinton, one-on-ones, donated significant money to the foundation. That doesn't look good, does it?
No, and this is a legitimate issue. The emails are legitimate. The Clinton Foundation's legitimate. The question I have is how many people are even persuadable at this point?
8%.
There are very few undecided voters. So I don't know what Trump gains over the long run except whipping up his supporters and maybe increasing their turnout.
Well, if you're Donald Trump, though, you want to take the heat off you, don't you not? I mean, you want the press to give her the baseball bat on the head instead of him. So I think by doing that, Trump becomes, the crusader for justice, and you forget about the other foibles that he's engaged in. Right? That's a strategy.
Bill, how can you get a lower score on honesty and trustworthiness than either one of these candidates has? I mean, you can reinforce what's there.
But maybe Mr. Klein sees my point here. Trump is under pressure almost daily from the press who hates him. Now this gives him a little bit of a reprieve because now they have to go over at least for a day or two, although they won't on some networks, and focus in on Hillary Clinton maybe was selling access to her office. So that gives Trump a breather, does it not?
And the people that are breathing even easier are the rank-and-file Republicans, many of whom want to support Donald Trump, but need to find a message they can get behind. And as long as he is stuck in controversies about what he's saying and who he's insulting and who he's fighting with and side issues and distractions, even some of the issues like immigration, those are divisive inside the Republican Party. Hitting Hillary Clinton is not divisive. And Dr. Sabato's right. There's a lot of legitimate questions here that Hillary Clinton has not put herself out there to answer. I mean, even her dismissal last night on Jimmy Kimmel, going ahead and saying, what's some more emails? Well, she has said publicly that she released all of the
off. Look, I didn't do anything wrong. Always will fall back on the FBI failing to recommend an indictment. Always, and say, look, my emails are boring. I was just doing yoga, whatever she's going to tell you. Okay. I think that she is smart to do that because, again, people, they're not locked in. They don't really know. And I'm not being condescending here, but you got to pay attention to this, and it's not easy to pay attention to, Doctor.
Yes, it's complicated unless there are hidden bombshells that we're going to find out now that we didn't know about. I kind of doubt it because the FBI has already looked at all these and then recommended no prosecution to the Justice Department. But I agree with you. When she's flippant about it, of course, it enrages Republicans.
Yeah.
But for Democrats, it relaxes them. And she knows they don't care anyway.
Is that a good thing, Mr. Klein, that you're so partisan that you don't care what your candidate does? I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's not very inspiring, but that's the reality of this race. I mean, this is going to be a race against two very unpopular candidates who are going to drive up each other's negatives, try to drive out their own bases. But this story just puts Hillary Clinton on the defensive because the best that she and her team can argue is that there's a lot of smoke, but there's no fire. But as more smoke grows, it becomes more and more problematic to explain that. And Dr. Sabato's probably right. Because the FBI looked at this, the idea of a bombshell, a smoking gun, very unlikely to be in these emails.
In the email thing.
That's
but
right.
In the Clinton Foundation thing, you already have your little bomb. Half the people got access to it that gave money to the foundation.
You don't know about official actions that result in that, but again, that's smoke, and it adds up to a whole lot. Do we really have to know, though? I mean, if you're the president and you say, hey, come to the White House, but first, give money to whatever, I mean, you can't do that. You just can't. You're exactly right. And there were safeguards that, as James Rosen talked about, they were supposed to have been in place to prevent that, and even the perceptions of conflict of interest. I think the fact that the foundation's now saying they won't accept foreign donations under a Clinton presidency, that says, well, why did you do it while she was Secretary of State?
All right, one more question for you, Doctor. In the debate, I expect Donald Trump to really go to town on all this. The first debate, and just to put her on the defensive every second about these kinds of controversies.
Yes, and he will be helped in one respect. A lot of people think the press is totally biased against him. You wait and see the quality and quantity of questions to Clinton about the emails and the Clinton Foundation, and also about her resistance to having a press conference. It's been, 7 months? No press conference?
Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for good debate. Directly ahead, Time Magazine says the net creating a culture of hatred in America. We'll get both sides. Then, is it legal investigating a federal judge ordering Hillary Clinton to answer questions about her emails in writing? What is that all about? Those reports after these messages. Personal story segment tonight. While walking around the streets of New York City, I estimate about 80% of people are either talking or texting on their phone all the time. I mean, they can't stop. Cyberspace addiction is everywhere. This week, Time Magazine's cover story says that social media has created a culture of hate because people known as trolls use cyberspace to smear and harm anyone they want. That includes giving out personal information that's known as doxing. The key question, is there a rise in hatred in America because of social media? Joining us from Chicago, Dr. Paul Booth, who teaches at DePaul University. And from Newburyport, Massachusetts, Dr. Keith Ablow, psychiatrist and Fox News analyst. Dr. Ablow, you're first. Is hatred rising because of social media?
Absolutely, Bill. You know, you and I have spoken about this before. The internet is the medium, and Marshall McLuhan in 1964 said the medium is the message. The internet invites people into it anonymously. It does so via an anonymous technological filter, and therefore it short circuits empathy. So it favors people who lack empathy, number one, and it threatens to turn just regular folks into less empathetic people as well. So it's doing that in a twofold way, not just through bullying, but after all, ISIS and the like use the internet to recruit.
Yes.
Why? Why is it seemingly so easy? Because people are depersonalized and dehumanized by the internet.
Okay, let's take the personal first, and then we'll widen it out to ISIS and the journalistic community. Now, Dr. Booth, you know this Leslie Jones who was in Ghostbusters? Is that her name, Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay. The actress, right? Now, people on the internet actually almost broke the woman, almost gave her a nervous breakdown because of all the attacks that she had to endure. She finally got off it. All right, but it harmed her dramatically, and the people who did it out of fun, spite. I mean, this woman's never done anything to anybody. She was just in a movie, and when I saw that, I mean, it was sickening.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely horrible. But I'm going to have to say that I don't think social media is the cause of hatred. I think hatred has always existed. People have always hated each other. Social media maybe brings it out in certain ways, but I don't think we can blame the technology. It makes it more acceptable, though, does it not? Doesn't it make it more acceptable? Didn't there used to be social boundaries? And now there are still social boundaries.
How?
I think
when you can destroy a human being on the social media, actually destroy somebody, where's the boundary in that, Doctor?
Well, there's certainly, and I'm not saying that there aren't exceptions to this. I'm not saying there aren't cases where people take it to the extreme and act horribly. Of course there are. It would be ludicrous to say that there weren't. But social media itself is not the problem. Social media can be used for incredibly positive things just as much as incredibly negative things.
That's true, but I think you're diminishing the problem. Dr. Ablow, trolls in Norway are little leprechauns that run around. Okay, that's what it is. But on the internet, they're vicious people who go after, and will probably be trolled tonight, individuals, smearing them in the worst possible ways. And there's no regulation. They can't stop it.
They can't stop it, and, you know, respectfully, what Dr. Booth misses is that there's plenty of data suggesting that people who use social media more suffer psychological problems more, and one of them is a decrease in empathy and a lack of connectedness. Remember, the internet cut its teeth on adult entertainment. The lack of humanity has been built in from the beginning. This coaxes people to be less human. There isn't a person alive who's more human because they use the internet or social media more. It's psychologically impossible for that to be the case.
Even if they're getting, as Dr. Booth points out, if they're getting information on it, if they're communicating with old friends on it, I mean, that seems to be something that's positive. But I get your point. See, my main point is this, that there's so much garbage on it, and that garbage finds its way out into the legitimate media. I mean, and with the destruction of Gawker, thanks to the heroism of Hulk Hogan, I mean, one's down, but there are 50 to take their place, Dr. Booth. And now we're having mainstream media quote this stuff. And so don't blame me. I saw it on social media. And I mean, it's like nobody's safe. Who's safe, Dr. Booth, from this? Who's safe?
Well, I think it depends on how you're defining safety here.
Whose reputation is safe? Whose?
Well, anyone's reputation is safe. No one's. Of course, people's reputations can be safe.
How? If somebody chooses to destroy you,
about the idea here that somehow social media is becoming the downfall of civilization. Adult entertainment made the VCR. Adult entertainment made the graphic novel. Adult entertainment made
those are different things now. When a woman like Leslie Jones gets the pain inflicted on her, I'm just staggered. All right, I'm going to give Dr. Lab the last word. Go.
Listen, Facebook, for instance, courtesy of Mark Zuckerberg, turned every Facebook user into a liar. Why? Because it asks you to present the happy face, to have 4,000 friends, and they're not. And the extension of that is simply that it allows big liars to lie in very vicious ways. We have no way to control it. And Dr. Booth is being an apologist for it in this case.
I'm not going to go that far. I respect the doctor's point of view, but children bullied on the internet, bullied on social media, children, high school kids, it's staggering.
I can't see that everyone on Facebook is a liar. It doesn't make any sense. Right. There's almost 2 billion people on Facebook. It's easier. A third of the world are liars.
Let's compliment.
It coaxes them to lie.
It's easier to lie. Gentlemen, thank you for a very provocative segment. Plenty more ahead as the factor moves along this evening. Some celebrities using social media to comment on the presidential campaign. We'll tell you what they are saying. Then, is it legal on a federal judge ordering Hillary Clinton to answer email questions in writing? I hope you stay tuned for those reports.
Years and counting.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and here's a legal segment tonight. 2 hot topics, beginning with federal judge Emmett Sullivan ordering Hillary Clinton to answer questions about her email controversy in writing. Not this pen, but any pen she wants. Here now, attorneys and Fox News analysts Lise Wheel and Kimberly Guilfoyle. So, Will, this is just so crazy. Nobody can follow this email thing, all right? It just goes on and on. It never ends. But now, Judicial Watch, watchdog group, all right, has filed a suit. They want to know, as citizens of the United States, certain things about Hillary Clinton's email situation. Right?
Right.
So far?
Exactly.
So the judge then rules in their favor, telling Hillary Clinton what?
That she has within 30 days of whenever Judicial Watch gives her these interrogatories, these written requests from their organization to her lawyers to respond to Judicial Watch about what they want to know. They have to limit their questions to why was a server set up, how was it created, and how did it respond to State Departments getting information from FOIA requests.
So they're basically, Guilfoyle, doing an interview, but not in person. They're doing it with written questions.
Yeah, it's customary.
And then 30 days after they submit their questions, which could be tomorrow, right? Could be tomorrow. She has to come back with the answers, correct?
Correct. And so the time frame for that would be by November 13th, the latest. So technically speaking, it could exceed.
Judicial Watch, they're going to.
Well, they're hopefully going to move on it. But the point is, there is that opportunity, that window, depending, where we might not hear her answers till after the election.
But I think, knowing Judicial Watch, they don't like Hillary Clinton.
They've got the questions ready.
But here's the rub: her lawyers are going to answer the questions. She's not going to answer them. Right?
Right.
They're going to go over what she's already said, and they're going to, vet it 50 different ways.
And the question is whether it's going to be public or not. Now, most cases in civil cases, this would automatically become public, but the Clinton's lawyers are going to go to the judge and say, we want it sealed.
No, he's going to make it public. I mean, if he ruled this way, he's going to make it public. So we're really not going to get anything here, right? Consensus, ladies?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe,
think so.
probably not.
Okay,
they're not going to give you anything that's going to incriminate her.
Right,
this is,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be 50 guys. It's like Paul Simon's 50 guys to do the
Are you
question.
singing? This is
Slip
Keep
out
It
the
In.
back, Jack. Okay. That was a song, Guilfoyle. It was a few
Nice voice.
years ago.
You're recession-proof.
Now, Navy SEAL says he was one of the shooters of bin Laden in Afghanistan, writes a book. All right. Gets $6.8 million. All right. The guy's name is Matt Bissonnette.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
He has to give the money back?
He's forfeiting $6.8 million of the proceeds that he made, from the book, because there was a civil and a criminal case, but no outcome on the criminal, that the government basically proceeded.
Okay, so why doesn't the military want the story told, Will?
Well, they want the story told. They just want to make sure that next time that somebody wants to publish a book like this, that they go through the Pentagon, that they actually go through the clarification process.
So he didn't get it cleared by anybody?
He didn't get it cleared. That's the problem. Now, he's actually going back and suing his original lawyer, saying, hey, original lawyer, you told me I didn't have to get it cleared by the Pentagon.
But he has to give the advance, $6.8 million, back to whom? Who gets it?
Back to the government, back to the Pentagon, because they didn't get the original clearance.
The publisher didn't get it. They're still out the money.
They're out the money. But remember, too, he went and got a second book. This time he went to the Pentagon, he got the clearance, and he sold that second book. Right.
Okay, now why is a Navy SEAL, Guilfoyle, or someone in the federal government, why do they have to obey these rules? What happened to the First Amendment?
Well, you know what? Because when you sign with the government a non-disclosure, and basically
all SEAls
it was
sign
a
that?
breach of contract. Yes, when you go on these missions, obviously the classified information, etc., and they call them the silent, the quiet professional, right? You're supposed to just do your job, not seek glory.
So before any SEAL goes on a classified mission, all right, top secret mission, they have to sign a piece of paper saying, I'm not going to say what happened on this mission.
And the concern is, of course, that classified information would come out. Now, there has been no official finding that he, in fact, released classified information. That determination.
But he gave the money back.
Yes, because he wanted to end the 2 years of criminal and civil allegations and cases against him so that he could resolve this and move forward.
And it's important to note, as Kimberly said, that we don't know that he actually gave out classified information.
No. But we know he gave the $6.8 million back, and that's a lot of money.
Right. I think he felt bad.
Something happened there.
I think he felt bad that he disobeyed the rules.
Okay. Well. All right, ladies. Thanks as always. We appreciate it. Gutfeld McGurk on deck. If they were running a company, would they fire Olympic star Ryan Lochte? The boys. Straight ahead. Back at the book segment tonight. What the heck just happened? Today, President Obama finally visited Louisiana, where floods that began 11 days ago have caused a massive amount of damage. An estimated 60,000 homes impacted. More than 100,000 folks have registered for federal disaster aid. Not his vacation until today. Here now to comment further, Bernard McGurk and Greg Gutfeld. First of all, Gutfeld, do you think he wore his waders, into the...
I have no... the thing is, this is why I would be a great president. I never go on vacation. I have no hobbies. I don't play golf. I just sit in a room quietly. The problem with this story is, I don't like talking about disaster stories because there's a political angle. It's like politics is just like flood water. It follows the path of least resistance and it poisons everything. If you sneeze, that is a microaggression against the environment. We keep putting politics into everything. Why can't a president,
whether
it's Bush or Obama?
But do you think that the poor folks down in Louisiana who got hammered care whether the president's there or not?
Maybe it helps them. Maybe it gives them some kind of emotional support. Who knows?
Okay. Now, Trump was down there, and some people say that shamed President Obama. He had to go down after Trump visited. Do you believe that?
Well, maybe. I don't think he should have had to. Listen, he's not running for re-election. It's a red state. It's a bunch of dopey rubes who cling to their guns and Bibles.
Dopey rubes.
Yes, sarcasm alert. Obviously, and it was a bad sign when he showed up and he was looking for Ray Nagin in the levees. I mean, that was the last one. He should have sent James Taylor down there. Look, things are going to happen when you're on vacation. In this case, it was the riots, then it was the flooding. At least it wasn't, an American getting beheaded by a terrorist caught on video.
That was last year.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, that was last I take it back. I withdraw the comment.
See, I'm not sure that anybody really cares whether politicians go down and feels their pain, but I do admit that the president should have... It's not a real tough deal to give up one day.
They only care if it's a Republican who doesn't. right?
Well, that's right. I mean, Bush was late and Katrina got hammered.
Plus,
that's a good point.
The media coverage.
It's fine. All right, this Ryan Lochte, you know this guy, right?
Yes,
he's the guy that got drunk, and then they trashed the bathroom, and then they made excuses, and then they were caught in a lie. Sponsors dropping him all over the place.
I think the sponsors have to do that.
Really?
Yeah, but I think he's taken a disproportionate beating, this guy, because, first of all, he was liquored up. I mean, there was a language barrier down there, and he did have a gun pointed at him. And it's not like he said he was shot at on a tarmac somewhere down in a foreign country. I mean, you got to give the guy a break.
So you're a little sympathetic, but you still say that he should lose his endorsements.
Yes, absolutely. I think he should. Look, the one endorsement he can maybe count on, it all started with a bathroom break. So he's got something, maybe he can endorse Depends or something like that, adult diapers.
That's probably not going to happen.
In the future.
But you know who benefited from this is Gutfeld. He picked up the Speedo endorsement.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. I wear them backwards, though.
Why is that?
For reasons that I can't get into medically. I do not think he should lose his endorsements. I'm still not sure what he did wrong.
He lied about it. He said
everybody should not have an endorsement. We all lie, don't we? I lied to my mother. He lied to his mother.
Not like that.
No, I think he lied to his mother. By the way, the Olympics depresses me. These people are way too good looking. Whenever I'm around Olympians, I feel like a one.
Well, that's why you got the Speedo endorsement for the regular folks to wear the bathing.
And it's why I'm on cable news, because then I'm a 6.
I don't know what that means.
He was liquored up.
He was drunk. Bad things happen when you get intoxicated.
Exactly right.
But some wonderful things happen. A lot of people find their brides and have children. If it wasn't for booze, we'd have no kids.
Mm-hmm. All right. Greg Gutfeld, everybody's philosophy of life, and you can catch it at a local library. Gentlemen, thank you. In fact, the tip of the day, an exciting new book you should know about, and it's not mine. The tip, moments away. Back to tip of the day, a new book you might like to read as the summer winds down. But first, 3 weeks from today, Killing the Rising Sun will be everywhere. 1 million copies distributed across the USA and Canada. If you pre-order the book on BillO'Reilly.com, you get it first. If you become a BillO'Reilly.com premium member, you get it free. Rising Sun will keep you up at night. Chapter on the atom bomb drops may even frighten you. Truly amazing what really happened there. Now the mail. Paul Calcott, London, England. Bill, I'm a proud premium member, but your talking points were a load of bull. Great Britain won 67 medals with a population of 65 million. USA 121 with a population of 320 million. Do the math. Not about math, Paul. China and India have far more people than America. It's about excellence and will to win. The USA still has it. And that was the point of the memo, not one-upping countries like yours, which did very well. Major Greg Merck, U.S. Air Force, Pensacola, Florida. Newsflash for Krauthammer. Liberty and will work in synergy and have created the greatest nation in history. Don Pryor, Trenton, Texas. Krauthammer was correct. Look to the north. Canada won more medals per capita. Linda Kleinschmidt, Cincinnati, Ohio. O'Reilly, I noticed the same thing you did. Minority athletes achieved mightily, clearly demonstrating that all Americans can be successful. Steve Zinzer, Pebbles, Ohio. Bill, I consider you a superb interviewer, but each time you talk with Trump, it seems you assume the role of an older brother bestowing insight on the younger brother. First of all, Donald is older than I am. Second, my interview style is debate heavy. That is, I put forth opinions and challenge the guests to knock them down. That's different than the traditional Q&A the hard news folks do. Not a matter of lecturing, it's a matter of injecting opinion. Michael Gates, Agawam, Massachusetts. Bill, why would Hillary Clinton come on the factor and face hard questions like Trump? Because she would reach tens of millions of voters, many of whom are skeptical of her. She could win big if she shows command of the issues. Peggy Crowell, South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Bill, could you have possibly been more obnoxious to Trump last night? You talking to me? Jenny Doyle, Lebanon, Oregon. Why is it so important to know Trump's strategy to curb violence in the cities? I'm glad he didn't tell you. Bob Withrow, Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mr. O, your toughness with Trump did him a favor, helped him prepare for the debates. For the record, I brought the same kind of questioning to President Obama that I bring to Trump, trying to get as much specific information as possible so you can know their plans. That's what we do here. Noah Medeiros, Fort Myers, Florida, just became a BillO'Reilly.com premium member. Why? Because you aggravate people, O'Reilly, and I like that. You sound like my kind of guy, Noah. Welcome aboard. And finally tonight, the factor tip of the day. One of my college pals, Terrence McGowan, led a fascinating life. Small-town cop, Marine Corps captain, FBI agent. But McGowan simply will not retire. As an old guy, he actually went back to Iraq and Afghanistan working in the private sector there. His new book, The Silence of War, an Old Marine in a Young Marine's War, comes out today. Now, McGowan tells some amazing tales that'll keep you turning pages. I wrote the foreword for the book, even though McGowan doesn't deserve it, but I am loyal to my old friends who write good books. Factor tip of the day, check out The Silence of War. And that is it for us tonight. Please check out the Fox News Factor website, which is different from BillO'Reilly.com. Also, we'd like you to spout off about the factor from anywhere in the world. O'Reilly at FoxNews.com. O'Reilly at FoxNews.com. Name and town if you wish to opine. Word of the day, do not be persnickety. Now, you all know what that means. But there's a traditional meaning to it that you might want to look up. Probably not. Now, excellent weather here in the Northeast. So, I am going to take a few days resting up for the brutal campaign that'll ramp up in September and October. I'm going to be working round the clock on that. We will be on it with our special brand of analysis and no spin facts. No endorsements here. No, favoritism only comes when issues are stronger on each side. That's the only time. So I will miss you guys for a few days. Again, thanks for watching us tonight. I am Bill O'Reilly. Please always remember that the spin stops right here. So we are definitely looking out for you.